guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie and today I'm going to be doing the Foodie book tag. This is an original tag that I created to celebrate the Thanksgiving season. If you don't know, here in the United States, November is our Thanksgiving holiday season. And on Thanksgiving, we eat a ton of food, and it is just a glorious occasion. Who doesn't love food? So even if you are not from the United States, you can totally participate in this tag. It's all about food and different restaurants, and you can totally participate even if it's not Thanksgiving where you live. In this tag, I'm basically just going to be listing out a bunch of different American restaurants. Even if you are unfamiliar with the restaurants mentioned in this tag, I still think you can participate in this video and you can really enjoy yourself. So you should totally do this tag regardless of where you're from, where you live, if you're familiar with these restaurants or not. Really, it's just all about food, and that is something that we can all relate to. Question 1 is McDonald's. A book that was easy to get through but wasn't that great. This may be an unpopular opinion, but for this one, I have Legend by Marie Lu. This one was super easy to get through. I flew through it. It was very quick, very easy, but I didn't understand the hype surrounding this series. Honestly, I was very underwhelmed. And I didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I would because everyone seemed to love this series and it was just kind of okay for me. Question 2 is Chick-fil-A, a book that you flew through and really enjoyed. Now, if you are unaware, Chick-fil-A always has the best customer service. They get your food out super quickly, and I personally really love their food. I am a huge lover of chicken, so Chick-fil-A is one of my favorite restaurants ever. With that being said, for this one I have Flame in the Mist by Renee Audier. This one isn't talked about as much on BookTube, but I really enjoyed this book. It has a lot of Asian inspired culture, so if that's something that you're interested in, you should totally read this book. I flew through it, I loved it, and unfortunately not that many people talk about this book. So if you have read this, let me know in the comments down below so we can talk about it. Question 3 is Zaxby's, a book that cost a little more than you wanted to pay, but was totally worth it. Like I said, I really love chicken, so Zaxby's is also one of my favorite restaurants of all time. It actually beats Chick-fil-A for me. I know that's like blasphemous, I'm sorry, but Zaxby's is totally better than Chick-fil-A in my opinion. Don't hate me. But it is a little bit more expensive for fast food anyway, so I tend to eat Chick-fil-A more than Zaxby's just because Chick-fil-A is a little bit more affordable, but anyway, Zaxby's is superior. For this one, I have An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This book, I think it's like, it was almost $20. Honestly, that's kind of the normal price for a hardback in the United States at least, but I typically don't pay full price for books, but this one is totally worth the money. So if you haven't picked this book up yet, you totally should because it is amazing. It is so diverse and just a beautiful story, and I thought it was really well done. I know this book is really well loved, but honestly, I don't think it's talked about as much as it should be because this series is amazing and you should totally read it if you haven't done so already. Question 4 is Red Lobster, a book that takes place near or on the ocean. I am personally a big fan of the ocean. I'm a big fan of the beach. I live in the southern United States, if you couldn't tell by my accent. I try to hide it a lot, but honestly, it still comes out. But anyway, I live about a 5-hour drive from the beach, and where I live, it's totally normal for families to vacation at the beach every summer, sometimes multiple times a year. So I grew up going to the beach a lot, and now that I'm older, I've really grown to appreciate the ocean and sea life in general because my parents are scuba divers now. So I'm all about the ocean. I love it. I've been on a couple of their dive trips. This past summer I actually went with them on a sailboat trip for a week through the Bahamas, and it was absolutely incredible. And so if you ever have the opportunity to do something like that, you should totally do it. But anyway, let's get back to this question. For this, I have The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. This is a bind-up of all 3 books. It's the Walmart exclusive edition. I don't really like the front cover of this, but the spine is really pretty and it looks beautiful on my shelves. This is a YA contemporary romance book, and it's so cute and so beautiful and so underhyped. Jenny Han is one of my favorite contemporary authors, and this is one of my favorite contemporary stories of all time, and it's totally not talked about like it should be. I love this trilogy, and if you haven't read it and you enjoy contemporary stories, you should totally go check this series out. This story follows 2 families in which the moms are best friends, and so every summer both of their families go to this beach house every summer. They just spend the summer together. They're just this one huge family, and it's such a beautiful story. It's very fluffy, but it also has very heavy topics as well, and it's such an underrated series in my opinion. Question 5 is Olive Garden, a book that gave you everything you wanted and more. Now, Olive Garden is actually my favorite restaurant. If you don't know what Olive Garden is, if you've never been to one, they basically give you unlimited breadsticks and salad, and then you get the entree, and it's huge portions. You leave that restaurant completely stuffed. When I eat there, I have to waddle out because I'm so full. For this one, I have the Poetic Underground by Hanson. This is the first book in Erin's Poetic Underground series. This one is called Reverie. This is a poetry collection. It's not very popular at all, but I love Erin Hanson's poems. There's some poems in this book that I thought was just really mediocre, but then there's some poems that just completely blew me away. Erin Hanson's poems really stick out to me, and they're the ones that I relate to the most. So I really enjoyed reading this, and if you enjoy poetry, if you like modern poetry, you should totally go check this out and support this author. I think she's amazing. Question 6 is Cracker Barrel, a book that brings you comfort. If you don't know, Cracker Barrel is all about the country southern comfort food. For a book that brings me comfort, I have Amy and Rodgers' Epic Detour by Matson. This is one of my favorite contemporary stories of all time. I really related to this book because the main character of this story just recently lost her dad to an accident. I personally lost my dad to an accident this past year, and I read this book this January. I really found a lot of comfort in this book, and I really related to the main character, and that is why it's the answer to this question. Question 7 is Buffalo Wild Wings, a book that was a little hectic but was a lot of fun. For this one, I have Ruby Red by Kirsten Gear. This is one that I read a couple years ago, and it was really before I had read a lot of YA. So I don't know how I would feel about it now, but I do remember the plot being really hectic, but I really enjoyed my time reading this series. It was a lot of fun for me, and I really enjoyed it. Question 8 is Taco Bell, a book that you know isn't that great, but you love it anyway. For this one, I have the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the bind-up of the first and second book, but I have the rest of the books up here. Now, this series is one that I flew through. I really loved. Honestly, it's like a better written version of Twilight, except with aliens instead of vampires. So if that is your thing, or it sounds like something you'd be interested in, and you haven't read this series, you should go check it out. It's light, it's fun, and it was just a really good time. But like I said, it is basically just like Twilight with aliens. It is better written than Twilight, but it's still not the most magnificent, eloquent writing you've ever read. I can see why some people don't like it because honestly the writing isn't exceptional, but I still really loved this series and I actually just reread it this summer. So if you haven't read it yet, you should go check it out. Question 9 is Waffle House, a book that was better than you expected. Now, Waffle House kind of has a bad rap because it's normally very cringy and dirty and not completely sanitary, but the food is a lot better than you would expect. For this one, I have Second Chance Summer by Borgan Matson, and that is not to say that this book is cringy or dirty or anything like that. It's literally just a book that was better than I expected. I really loved this book, and I think out of all of Morgan Matson's books, this one is the most underhyped, but this is also one of my favorite Morgan Matson books. So if you haven't given this book a chance, I think you should, because I wasn't expecting it to be that great because it's not hyped up on BookTube, but I really enjoyed this book. It was a lot better than I expected. It's both fluffy and also has some deeper elements to the story. It's not just all fluffy and happy, although it does have some of those aspects in this as well. Basically, this book is about a girl whose family just dropped the bomb on her that one of her family members is terminally ill. So they spend the last summer that they have together as a family in their summer lake house. It is such a beautiful story. It warms my heart and broke it all at the same time. And you should read this if you haven't given it a chance. And the last question is question 10, Cheesecake Factory, a book that served you something extra sweet. For this one, I have To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This one is a series that has been hyped up and talked about a lot recently on BookTube just because of the movie that came out on Netflix recently. But really, this is such a cute story and it's got great family dynamics. The main character also loves to bake, and so she makes a lot of goodies and sweets and treats and all that stuff throughout the book. And it's really just a great, cute story. And the family dynamics in this book are just precious, and it's just a sweet, cute, fun story. That is it for the Foodie book tag. I hope you enjoyed this tag. If you want to do this tag, let me know in the comments down below and I will totally tag you. I will also leave a list of people in the description below and on Twitter of the people that I tag. If you don't know who these booktubers are, you should totally go check them out. Like I said, they will be listed in the description below. I really hope you do this tag and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Regardless of where you live, where you're from, you can totally do this tag. If you do this tag, you should totally let me know. You can tag me on Twitter. It will also be linked in the description below. Or you can comment on my video and leave a link to your video and I will totally go check it out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish content by me. If you live in the US and it is your Thanksgiving holiday season, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and friends, and I hope you eat a lot of amazing, delicious food. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!